All right, guys, welcome to the first episode of the Game Junction Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Eddie.
Tony Two-Ton.
What's up, I'm Shane.
I'm Scott.
All right, so we are going to be doing a little bit of introductions here.
Scott.
Getting a little bit of feedback there. All right, we're going to do some introductions for ourselves here. I'm Brandon. I'm with Game Junction. Eddie is with me as well. We work with Toward Gaming Expo, do our own thing on Facebook, socials. Currently doing like content creation, things like that. You've probably seen us around. We're in a lot of the Facebook groups that we're all in. So that's a little bit about me. Just gamer, collector, average dude, really. Yeah, that's myself. Eddie?
Let's see, as Brandon said, I'm also part of Game Junction. I was collecting a bunch of figures before I got back into video game collecting, and ever since I started, just shy. Actually, today is the year anniversary, Brandon, that I started collecting again, and now that I think about it, August 14th, yep, and yeah, it's been going strong. It's been really exciting to hop back in, although the economy is not the greatest right now for video games. But I'm making it work, and just kind of enjoying collecting and learning more about the history of video games as we go.
Yep. All right, Shane?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm Shane. I'm part of Game Central Station here. We're in Georgia. We, kind of a general collective, local gamers, collectors, and the like. So, yeah, we do our thing just like y'all do.
Mark?
You say me?
Yep.
Oh, Mark. Not associated with anything, just kind of like the lone wolf out here, just enjoying life, playing video games. I don't know what more there is to say.
Tony?
All right, guys. I'm Tony Two-Ton. Game Central Station events. Been doing our own little events out here in Athens, Georgia for about 2 years now, I guess. Fastest growing event in Georgia. Check it out. Number one fastest growing.
Yeah, it's definitely been cool to get to see you guys to grow and the community you guys got. And it's been really awesome making friends with you guys. Just a little group that
Hell
we've
yeah.
got and
Likewise.
developed. So Eddie, you want to
Yeah,
start off
we
with
would
our
love.
first topic here?
Let's see. So the biggest topic today is we're talking about basically retro live services. And we're going to start with, some probably from most of our childhoods, the X Band and the Sega Channel that was released in the 90s. And you can see Tony there has a lovely physical X Band there. Lucky for him that he gets to own that and hold that. But yeah, we can definitely get started.
So yeah, for sure.
Just kind of go ahead. Did I cut you off? My bad.
No, you're good. We're adjusting here. My experience with those is pretty much non-existent as far as Sega Channel. I never had Sega Channel with the Genesis, so same with X Band. I have gotten to see footage of what it is really. First online experience for me, I think, was probably Dreamcast. I think that's the first thing that I played online, but other than like PC. So I don't have a ton of experience with those. I can't say too much about that, but I've definitely got to see what they're doing with the Sega Channel stuff. To play that content that was released on that. So generally don't have much experience with those two myself.
Yeah, the Sega Channel was pretty awesome with those exclusive titles that it had. If only we had them in physical forms.
Yeah, very unique early thing, with dial-up connection there. It was a very unique thing to try.
I think one of the cool things about the Sega channel was it didn't really go through your dial-up. It actually came through the cable modem, like just straight from my cable coaxial from my wall into the little device, and then straight to the TV. So there was no like wire you had to hook up like through your telephone or anything like that. It was just straight through cable service.
Right. Yeah, so I know one of the big things that we're going to be talking about is the Insignia's Xbox Live 1.0, which has been really cool. They've announced 13 different games. I know we're all pretty excited about that. So, we could start off with talking about some of those games. I know one of the big ones for all of us is Phantasy Star Online. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
What experience do you guys have with that game on any system, really?
I'm trying to think. I don't know which one I had, but I had one for the GameCube. It was like the single player version of it, though.
Yeah,
It's like 15 years ago, and I don't remember anything about it. I don't even have the game anymore.
Yeah, that essentially is the same game.
Yeah,
They
is
just
the
added
same
more
game.
features to it on Xbox. The voice chat alone was huge quality of
Right.
life improvement.
Yep, they had it on Dreamcast as well. So I have not played the Xbox version. I have only played the Dreamcast and GameCube. So I know it's essentially the same thing. I've seen gameplay of it. But I had the Plus version for GameCube. So my experience with the Xbox Live version is non-existent. Originally played it on Dreamcast and then played it on GameCube.
It's a great game. The voice chat feature that Xbox supports. I mean, I know the keyboard's fun and all, but when you're actually playing, it's kind of tricky to jump on your keyboard to coordinate. So, yeah, playing on Xbox with voice chat again, that'll be huge. And Silverant, the server alone, I mean, it's a great server to play it on too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of support they'll have for Xbox once Insignia's live again.
Yeah, it'll be really cool for us to check out. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. I would say, maybe. I don't know. There's an interesting selection of games. I know, Eddie, you said you're also looking forward to Phantasy Star Online. You haven't played that one, right?
Yeah. The great thing about just OG Xbox in general, when I was a child collecting video games, Xbox just totally missed my radar. It just wasn't picked up by my parents. It wasn't bought for me as a kid. So my only experiences with Xbox as a kid was going to my friend's house. But once now I got back into collecting, one of the first systems that I got when I got back into collecting was the original Xbox, because anything that has that only for Xbox stamp on it is a brand new experience for me. And it's totally insane that like a 6th-gen console is just like anything that has that stamp is like I've never experienced before, minus a few titles like Voodoo Vince, Oddworld, I think it's Abe's Odyssey or Munchie's Odyssey. It's Munchie's Odyssey.
Yeah.
Those two titles I can definitely remember from my childhood, but things like Blinks 2, Whacked, which is also going to be on the Insignia list of 13 there. I am excited for that. It's just a cartoony, goofy little battle royale game.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I think once we get it going live, it's going to be really cool to play it with all you guys and anyone else that's also playing online. But yeah, Phantasy Star Online, I never got to play it at all. I'm really big on PC MMORPGs. So I am definitely excited to try out PSO on the Xbox Live service that Insignia is offering to us.
Have any experience with Fantasy Star? Yes, I don't have any experience with Fantasy Star Online at all. I haven't really watched a lot of gameplay on it because I kind of want to just jump into like a new experience with it. I haven't maybe some small clips of people playing it just to kind of see what it looked like, but what the gameplay is like, no idea what the interactions with other people's like in that game. So it's going to be like a whole thing. You really need to be able to stream it, be in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I know. Yeah, like I said, my experience with the Xbox version is limited on that. A majority of these, that would be the case for me. I have a few of them here with me now. I know another one I'm looking forward to is out of the couple that I have is Unreal Championship. Great game. Played it a lot on PC back in the day. And then I remember first playing it on Xbox at my buddy's house. Similar to Eddie, I did not have an Xbox when I was younger, so I had GameCube and PS2. I played some of these games on PS2 online, but as far as the Xbox, my experience is limited. It was a lot of Halo online. But yeah, that's definitely one I'm looking forward to. Unreal Championship. That's a great first-person shooter. I've always enjoyed that game. Anybody have any experience with that?
Absolutely.
Played Unreal for
I played Unreal for just a little bit.
only in local party.
Unreal was
Yeah.
fun.
Only in local parties.
Counter-Strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the joys
Y'all
of
wanna
being
play?
stuck with Nintendo as a kid, so
Yeah, well, that's my thing. I got a PS2 later. I didn't get it anywhere near launch, so same. I was with GameCube. I only got to play Xbox at friends' houses, so my experience was limited. And
That was kind of my experience with the PlayStation. I went with the original Xbox. My friend went with the PlayStation, so we'd always just switch back and forth when we get bored.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things that's kind of cool with this service coming back up is that I didn't get to play a ton of these games on Xbox Live, just a few of them. Like Star Wars Jedi Academy. That's one I actually haven't seen any gameplay for. I don't know exactly what the online
Underrated.
I don't know exactly what the online is like at all whatsoever. So
still available. Like I
Never
saw
played that
when I was
one.
at Best Buy, you could buy it for like the Switch as well. It's weird. It doesn't seem like a game that fits.
right, yeah, it doesn't for sure. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that is there, but it's just like it's one of those things that it's a whole new experience. So getting to check out some of these like Mech Assault, that's one of the other games on
That'll be
there.
fun. It'll be good.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah,
should be
I think
good.
Megastalt's going to be good.
time,
Yeah,
time.
I think Mech Assault's going to be
Anytime you can
good.
play a giant
That was a
robot,
great game. Anytime you can play a giant robot, it's a good game.
Yeah,
Good
that's
arcade
one of those
play.
ones that's those type of games have always been hit or miss with me. I know some of the Mech Assault games are fun, but I would say out of the list of the 13, it's one of the ones that I'm probably least looking forward to. It's just not like my kind of game, but I'm looking forward to trying it out online for sure.
Yeah, look into it some. The gameplay mechanics on it were simplified a good bit, so it actually has like a level of like almost an arcade feel, so to say.
Right.
It's not as in depth, doesn't feel too grindy.
Anything with giant robots, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Say no more. Say no more.
Brings out my love for Gundam as well. I just
Oh,
want to
yeah,
see cool
sure.
explosions, man.
That
Laying some Smackdown, maybe with some Dead or Alive. Should be another good one.
I still need to pick that up.
Yeah.
I see there's a double pack at a game store that's like 30 minutes away from me that has it super, super cheap for not only a sealed one, but for obviously a complete in box one. I want to pick them both up. That's definitely, I think that one, and I think PSO are two of the biggest ones I still need to pick up. I unfortunately don't have my stack with me. But one that I think that is missing the radar here is the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection for Xbox as well. It's going to be awesome to have Street Fighter on live. It's going to be so sweet. It's going to be so cool.
It's going to be amazing to get my ass
online.
12-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
Brandon ain't ready for the smoke online.
I take it back. It may not be 12-year-olds if we're playing on original Xbox again. It might be the actual 30-year-olds kicking my ass, you know?
Actual OGs. Jesus.
Well, that's one of the reasons how come I even got out of playing online was because I got sick of the 8-year-olds on Halo 3.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine and I, one night, we were just like, well, fuck this. We're just gonna have fun. And I'm trying to remember what map it was on. I think it was Valhalla. I said, let's just get a warthog and just act like assholes. And that's all we did. And then I think it was it Narrows, the one that had the human shooters back and forth. I think that's what it was, Narrows. We kept going in there and just getting on the human shooters, just going back and forth, and people were going, "What are these guys doing?" And it's just like, we're tired of the teabagging. We're tired of you 8-year-old assholes. Go to bed.
Teabagging, yes.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yes, past your bedtime.
yeah. It's like, go to bed. Go read some Bear in the Big Blue House and go to bed.
Yeah, what are some of the other ones on there? I'm hitting a blank here. It's not letting me pull up my list here, but
There is the FPS shooter 13. I do believe that is like the cell shaded FPS that's going to be on there. There's also Midtown Madness 3, which is a racing game.
Project Gotham?
Oh man, Counter Strike obviously has been talked about.
yeah. Counter Strike for me.
MotoGP, I think the demo version.
Yes, on that. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have our camera shit figured out next time.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
and it's nice to hear that, they did announce, it's like, hey, like, we're definitely rolling these out in bundles. It's not going to indefinitely just be these. So we know that they definitely have plans for further support down the road. And I'm pretty sure I read that they said that their goal is to have everything supported. Like, every game that has online support, they want to have supported and working on here.
Yeah, I believe I
That's
saw
impressive.
that as well. That is very cool. It's really cool that
Mhm.
that people care enough to have that happen. That Insignia is doing
Exactly.
this because it's
I
definitely
agree.
not.
That's
It's for the fans. I mean,
oh yeah, labor of love, 100%.
absolutely, and that's what's really cool about it. That's what's great about this community, and the fact that people care enough to want to be able to experience these on the OG Xbox. I mean, we're on the Series X, 4 console generations later, or 3, and it's the love is still there for the original Xbox. I see it every day, so it's really cool that
Love it,
people
yep.
are doing that.
I think it's just
Yeah,
cool
we-
that Microsoft is allowing it. They're not going to act like Nintendo. No, you can't play any of our old games at all.
Yeah,
Right,
That's
yeah.
that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. We appreciate that, Microsoft.
Well, isn't it interesting that Nintendo is very protective of their properties, but they don't give a rat's ass about the old games.
Feels like they just want to wait 20
Well,
years down the road and then
They don't care about it
resell it.
until they realize that someone's trying to make money off of it and not.
Right, and not them. It's just like, you could be
Yeah.
making money off of this too.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
It feels
There's
like
a
they just.
huge market.
It feels it's like the. It's like artificial scarcity is like the idea of what they want,
that is their.
Well, that's what they.
motive.
especially with their Pokemon games. It's like they don't like to re-release old games hardly ever. Like there's like half their library you can't even play
Mhm.
unless you spend like $200 on like a old cartridge game.
Right,
Yeah.
and it kind of goes with that thing as to why is Game Boy not like on the Nintendo Switch Online service? Makes no sense. It would be one of the easier, like especially Game Boy and Game Boy Color, with the
No.
emulation for that service. It doesn't make any sense, but
It just feels like it's built up the hype, and then later down the road when they release it, all right, now we're gonna charge you even more money for it.
right. I mean,
Pay
the
Game
NES
Games
Mini.
work.
Remember that whole situation?
Yeah,
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Same with the Wii. I mean, really everything.
Well, the Wii, that was a fun situation because I was working at GameStop at the time, and it was definitely an artificial situation that they created. Oh, well, there's a shortage. Bullshit. You're just not making as many of them. And I'll never forget that Christmas. My two sons, we like a Wii. I'm like, well, I've never even had my hands on one, used. I've seen them new, but I've never seen a used one even. And and new when they came in, those were ones that people had pre-ordered, and it's not like we were doing orders for more. They just came in, and by the time they were in, they were gone. We'd only get like 3 at a time. So my wife, then she was my girlfriend. I had this guy come in and he goes, "Yeah, my girlfriend and I, I tried getting her into this Wii, but she's just not into it. We've had it for about 3 weeks, and the thing was complete in box. It was pristine. They didn't throw anything away." And I looked at it and I went, "Oh!" And we got discounts on used systems, and I was like, "Oh, great!" So I get on the phone immediately. I'm like, "Get your ass up here with a credit card now!" And then the funny thing was, not 15 minutes after that guy left, somebody else came in with a Wii. I said, "All right, we're buying 2 of these, one for us and one for my boys." And that was the last time until nobody gave a rat's ass about them anymore. But no, Nintendo's notorious for the artificial shortage. So it's almost like their stuff isn't. I hate to say this, and I might get a lot of groans for it. A lot of their stuff has a very kiddie-like component, or may not have the same kind of longevity that something that has a more adult feel to it would, or it's more niche. So therefore,
more for kids.
Yes, and that therefore they have to make it. They have to make it seem like if you don't get hold of this, you're never going to see it ever again. Which is a good, deal at the time.
Right.
That does happen.
I mean, we're
Smart
seeing
fucking
it
marketing.
The Xenoblade Chronicles 3 special edition that just happened.
Oh, that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare.
I tried to grab that, and it was absolutely impossible with 4 devices.
No,
so.
2 different occasions. I've threw in the towel. It
happens with everything. The Metroid Dread special edition, which now you see everywhere, but
gotta wait long enough to buy it cheaper than when it came out new.
Well, they kind of did that with the Animal Crossing Switch console. When it first dropped.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wanted it. No one could get it, and then they released it everywhere because everyone wanted it, and now they're just sitting stagnant on.
They're everywhere.
Shelves.
They've been at my Walmart for months, sitting there for months. So yeah, that's the weird thing. I know with they did the Xenoblade 3 Collector's Edition. The thing with that is it's their first thing they're doing on their online store. So that was a whole mess. So I don't know if that was their part, the website, like them not expecting. I mean, how can you not expect that? That's one of their top series right now. So it's hard to defend. It is hard to defend. I'm a big Nintendo guy. I enjoy all the companies for different reasons, but I definitely have always leaned more Nintendo. Just that's what I grew up with. But it's hard to defend that artificial scarcity stuff. It's been going on for years. I mean,
it has. But I guess it works to a degree. You never see the games in clearance bins hardly.
No.
You don't see huge sales happen on them. I feel that kind of keeps them. That's why they keep doing it. They're like, "Oh, well, you see, it works. We can still sell out at full price. So just don't put a whole lot out."
It's a weird thing because Nintendo stuff this is arguable, but tends to hold the most value, I would say. Over time, it seems like Nintendo stuff holds the most value. I mean, look at the NES games.
Sure.
Well, you got to look at it this way too. Those fucking cartridges last forever.
Yeah,
that's true.
And they're still making shit on cartridges. I mean, they went back to the cartridge for the Switch. So,
I think another great example with Nintendo and their artificial scarcity is when they on the Switch released their the Mario, where it had their 3 from like the GameCube era with the it was Mario 64.
Oh yeah, the Mario
Galaxy.
All-Star.
Yeah, the All-Star collection. Like, hey, we're gonna make this. It's only built for like 6 months.
Right, which is
and you still find it everywhere.
You see it everywhere. Yeah,
all over.
And that was probably. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the first thing they said they were making limited, right? Like it was like a big thing that they were saying this is limited.
A timed release, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Now it's like, why? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I just found it at this where I work at. The store next door has it for $25 in there, so it's just like it's everywhere, man. I mean, people bought 20 copies of it. They're like, "Oh, we're grading this."
Oh yeah. Oh, it'll be rare.
Yeah, it'll be rare. It'll be rare. It's still at Walmart right now, dude. So that's a weird.
That's why I can't buy anything when it first comes out, because it's just not that. People buy it. They think it's going to be rare. They try to sell it for 3 times what it's actually worth. You wait 2 weeks and you could just buy it at retail or cheaper because it's going to go on sale anyway.
Right.
The only thing I can say about Nintendo is their games, for the most part, aren't broken at launch, like a few other AAA parties. At the very least, Nintendo releases
Right.
games that
Absolutely.
work.
I can't recall like a day one patch for a Nintendo game.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
And
I would have
even I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. I would have said I would have argued that I would have agreed with that until here recently with like the Mario sports games they're releasing. They're releasing them with their dry bones games. I mean, there's nothing going for them. You got a more like jam-packed game with a GameCube version or a Wii version. I mean, they've been doing that here recently. So
I think it's the same argument. It's just at the very least, it might be bare bones, but the game isn't. It works as
broken.
intended. If there's no
Yeah, it's
game,
not broken.
That's true. That part is true.
It's not it's not Cyberpunk or Halo Infinite.
Oh,
You know, you're not still waiting on
76.
stuff to be, you know, to be or yeah, Fallout 76. My son, when he bought that, he was like so excited. He was so excited. I'm like, I'm done. I've heard bad stuff. And the next thing you know, he goes, "Oh my God, it's such a piece of shit." And I was just like, I'm sorry you paid money for that.
That's a great example. Yeah, that game was definitely broken. Cyberpunk, I got that day one. Super stoked about that. Now, I didn't experience a lot of issues with it, but I mean, if a game even 2 or 3 times just completely kicks you off the whole game, you lose an hour worth of gameplay. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
No, I haven't played too much of it, and I didn't play it on an Xbox One. I played it straight on the Series X, and I've heard a lot of people on the Xbox One, just because, especially original Xbox One, they were having problems, but I never had a problem. And I haven't gotten too deep into it. Now, my son on his PC, he bought it day one, and he was just like, he was taking pictures of all kinds of funky shit, and he's like, you gotta check this out. And, you know, things disappearing, cars floating, you name it. And I was like, that's fun. You know, I wish there was a toggle switch for that, okay? Pre-patch version, patch version.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but you're not doing
So I want to have some fun.
Reset your
Well, no, you wouldn't, because that's the online
Well,
only
no, you
game.
wouldn't, 'cause that's the online only game.
No, we
There's a weird audio right there.
Oh yeah, I don't know
Oh, I
what's
think
going
you-
on there, but yeah.
Everyone good? We alive? We breathing? Need some water? We good?
My camera keeps shutting on and off anytime I'm moving here, so I apologize. But yeah, that's definitely a pre-patched and a patch version. That's funny for sure. I played it on the PS5 and I had minor issues with it, but it was still a broken game. If it releases on the Xbox One and you can't play it on the first Xbox One, like it's borderline unplayable, there's a problem.
That's what I've heard.
It was obvious if you played because I played it both on the PS4, I think, and I played it on the PC. Obviously, they obviously put more care into the PC version because that version had like the least amount of issues consistently at the very least.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, PC seems.
It was at least playable on a PC. On the console, half the time the game would just crash.
There
Yeah,
are games
I
that
definitely lost 3 hours of playtime on that game.
Well, there are definitely games that, because of the bad press that they've gotten, that I've said, all right, I'm staying away from that. And one of them was Assassin's Creed Unity. I mean, you just saw that in the community. You saw it, in Game Informer. You saw it everywhere that the thing was just broken. And then the one we had just mentioned, not Cyberpunk, but the other one we mentioned a moment ago. I have Swiss cheese memory right now. What was it?
Fallout 76.
Yes, Fallout 76. Have there been enough patches for both of those games to make them playable, or to make somebody want to play them?
It's playable if you want to pay more money for it.
Yeah, 76 is.
Because Bethesda went the microtransaction about a year later.
Gotcha.
Which was another horrible idea.
Yeah, enough press has died down. Most people didn't care. They didn't hear about it.
Hey, you guys paid for this. I got a great idea. Want to pay more?
Yeah, right.
No.
No thanks.
Right, yeah, it's crazy when a full price game is released half baked. Really, I mean that's just the case, and that's
another reason to just stay away from games at launch because I
That's-
don't know if it's gonna be good, don't know if it's gonna be broken. I might as well just wait for the further reviews.
Yeah,
to
it's
come out.
kind of to the point that you made, Mark, that really the only games that I will pick up at launch are typically Switch titles, and it's not all of them, it's not most of them, but the reason is that typically first party Nintendo games, they stay the same price the entire life cycle. I
Yeah, but
that's
there's
just the
decent
case.
first-party Nintendo games have quality to them. The
Right.
sports games might be lacking, but their main titles, they will delay them forever. Especially like you look at Zelda games; they're always getting delayed.
Make
But for the most part,
good.
they're not. They work when they come out.
No, Zelda, Mario, anything along those lines. Just like you said, they're not built broken. They're always quality, and they always retain their value.
Yes.
Because Nintendo needs to make money, and that's what makes them the money is these first-party titles. So they need to make sure they don't have bad press around them. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, it's any the other consoles with the Xbox or PS5, I typically do not pick up at launch at all, simply because the price drops on them quick, very quick. I remember getting a game that launched. I'm trying to remember what it was. Battlefield 2049 that launched at a $70 price tag, and about a week and a half later, I got it $30. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's no reason.
Fast.
Yeah.
Now that's a terrible game. So
Fallout 76 was the same.
yeah. So that's one of the things with that for sure. At launch, it's usually a Switch title, and it's only a portion of the time with that. If it's like maybe a special edition or something, I'm excited about. But other than that, I'm typically wait and go on sale type of guy. There's too many games. We're collectors. That's just how it goes.
Well, and honestly, by the time you buy it on that sale or find it at a good deal, they pushed out those few patches and made it better. You know, because it probably wasn't even ready for retail release when it came out.
Well, there are very few games that I will want to get on launch day anymore. There are very few, but my motivation nowadays, and like I've said to a couple other friends and my wife, my motivation isn't just to buy it because I want it. You know, because I have my YouTube channel, I want to review it, and it's not. And a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that, hey, I necessarily want to get the review out there for people to see, hey, Sniper Elite 5 is so great, because by the time I actually got my review out there, everybody else already had their reviews out there. That's not what my channel's about. My motivation is to get it out there so people can get a good laugh and also say, yeah, I would definitely play that game. Because if I'm going to spend anywhere from $30 to $60 on something, it's got to be something that I really, really want. I've never been an RPG, a turn-based RPG guy ever.
Same here.
And God bless the people who want to play that.
I love them.
I'm working on it. I don't want to hear that.
There's only one that I've ever seen, and that's recently that I said, that actually looks decent, and that's Live Alive.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, and it looks gorgeous, and it doesn't look like it was made for like a third grader. And I'm like, okay, I might actually have to check this game out. And to each their own, because my kids were always playing Pokemon and stuff like this, and I just couldn't get into it. I mean, to me, the more blood and guts, the better.
On that topic of Live Alive, that's something that I'm completely in love with. It's all the attention that these great old games are getting now. And I mean, come on, Live Alive, that was a Super Nintendo game that was never localized here for the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did that and they gave us a physical release of that, went like, oh yeah, sure, it's in the eShop. That was pretty badass.
Yeah.
But when I saw the
Frontier HD, all that.
When I saw the gameplay of it, and that it actually had depth instead of, okay, when I'm walking up, I'm obviously going, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I might actually want to touch this game as opposed to, I'll let somebody else play that and tell me about it.
Yeah, no, they did an excellent job with the presentation of that game.
But here's what doesn't make sense on my end. There was a girl I used to date, and she would play turn-based RPGs, and I could watch her play them and enjoy it because just like what were those, the Disney ones? I don't even remember their names.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, the Kingdom Hearts. I could watch her play Kingdom Hearts all day. Hey, you want to play this? Nope, that's okay. I'll just watch you.
Just watch you play it.
I'll watch you and say dirty things about you.
Yes, I am the exact same way because my girlfriend Lily played Ni no Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom. I watched the whole thing. I was in love with the graphics. I was in love with the cinematics, cutscenes, the whole story. I was just enthralled. But if I were to play it, I'd just be like, click, click, Forevermore. Click. I don't know. Just watching her do it is just much more exciting than actually me playing. I just feel like she enjoys it more than what I would. So that's what makes it more fun to watch because she's enjoying it more than what I would playing it. I think that's what makes it, more exciting to watch.
More about the experience with those RPGs. It's the storytelling. It is the cinematic. The character, the personality development with them. That's what gets me with them. I love them, but I'm a nerd too. So
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit different in the fact that I would be extremely bored to watch somebody play an RPG. I am not one to watch streamers too much. I'll check out here and there. It's typically retro stuff, but I don't know if I could. I've kind of done it before, and it doesn't keep my attention. I gotta be in the action, but these days I'm not as much in the turn-based RPGs. I've kind of leaned more to the action RPG realm just because there's more interactivity. But I've always loved turn-based RPGs.
You've ever played any of the Tales series?
Absolutely, yeah. I just played through Tales of Arise. That was the last one I played through. But yeah, those games are great. Yeah. Yeah, I always enjoyed those.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of my motivation was like you guys were saying, the story, and you could watch the cinematics on anything on YouTube anytime you want, but I don't think I would sit there and watch it anytime because at that time my motivation wasn't just, hey, I'm watching this game and I'm enjoying the story. She'd be like, we'll play it for an hour and a half, and then it was boyfriend girlfriend time. So part of that was okay. I get to watch this. I don't have to pick up a controller, So I'm into it. At the same time, I could pick up a controller and start playing Metal Gear Solid 4 right now at the drop of a hat, and then everybody else would be going, "You realize you've grown a beard in the last couple of days, right?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." Like, well, you don't like turn-based RPGs, and I'm like, "This is not a turn-based RPG. I'm kicking ass." So they'd be like, well, you still need to shave. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a weird one. I know Eddie's always been very hit or miss with the turn-based. I mean, really, the only one that we can have any kind of type of connection on is Pokemon, I think. And
yeah, I mean that's the only one. I don't know what it is about Pokemon. I think it's just so used to mechanics. I mean, I know that like how Pokemon works, you got your move set, there's so many times you can use set move, there's items and everything. I know that turn-based RPGs are, they're the mechanics or the system for that are just as simple or just a little bit more complex. But for some reason, Pokemon, I can just pick up Pokemon anytime, any cartridge, really from any generation and play it no problem. But if we put in Chrono Trigger, I'm going to sit there and probably an hour in, I'm probably going to lose it. But I am working on it. I told Brandon, I was like, look, I'm gonna work on turn-based RPGs. I'm gonna do it.
I have really good, like at least 4 hours before you can ever say I'm done with that game, though.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I think I do need more time with it, but I think I'm missing out on a lot of adventures with JRPGs. But with being so busy with my real life job and my son, he's very attentive and loves to be up my ass. It's really hard to actually like sit down like on a JRPG type game and actually sink hours into it and actually not half-ass just go skip the all the dialogue and stuff like. It's really hard to be able to grasp and actually sit down and actually engross myself in the story like I would want to, because like you guys are saying, JRPGs, half the fun of it is getting engrossed in the character development and the story. So
it's my adult man book.
I think that's my thing with leaning towards more action RPGs these days, and even those are few and far between for me. It's hit or miss when I pick up an RPG, even though it's always been my favorite genre. I think it's just a time thing, being a parent. It's just that you have to get engrossed and sucked into that. So
then you can put in a quick 30 45 minutes into it and not feel bad about shutting off.
Yeah that's where retro games tend to come in. Pop that game in, Well, at least not like RPGs, but as far as like saying playing some Contra, you pop that in, play 30, 40 minutes of that. You got your.
Boom, you're done with that game.
Playing like a JRPG, like there's 60 hours of just pure dialogue in those games.
Well,
that's like 3/4 of the game right there, just dialogue.
Yeah, you got 100.
The Lord of the Rings of video games.
Yeah, you got to put a lot of time into them.
Yeah, that's the thing. And those games that take.
That would be one to play. That would be one that would be awesome to fucking play on the Xbox Live. Is the Lord of the Rings series.
For sure.
I do like those games.
Yeah, I do too.
Were they online? I don't know if they were originally.
I know. I actually have all of them. And none of them say Xbox Live on them. So probably not.
Bummer.
I have the Return of the King, the Two Towers. I can't read what the other one is there. The weird. The
I played the shit out of the Two Towers for the GameCube growing up. It's like the only game I had. I think I had another one for the Game Boy Advance as well.
Yeah, I remember
those
that.
are fantastic.
Yeah.
Games.
Yeah, I played it for the PS2. That was a good game.
Yeah, for sure. I played the GameCube version as well with you, Mark. I know. Along
that's the game.
You still have the game. We were just talking about the Lost Kingdoms games the other day. I just put those on my Peekaboo. So.
Ooh, Lost Kingdom, nice.
Oh, I still have the first one. I don't know how like some random person gave us that game. Like, or some old person like, my kid played this game, and I just got them. This is a weird game, but I got really into it.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
it's I struggled as a kid playing that game. Then once you get into it,
for sure. Yeah, I literally just.
It's very strategic at times.
For sure, I put 1 and 2 on the Peekaboo, and that's the only time I ever played it was with you. So that was a really cool one for sure.
I haven't thought of that game in years.
So speaking of which, switch topics a little bit. Have any of you guys done the GameCube Peekaboo yet?
I haven't.
No.
I've played on one. I haven't installed or ran one personally.
So I mean, the cool thing about that is still being able to preserve the disk drive. So that's been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say that sucks is I'm on my 4th day of when I can loading games onto it. It takes forever. It's not like an EverDrive. Yeah. It's not a drag and drop thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I mean,
like using Dolphin emulator.
Worth it in the long run.
Yeah, worth it in the long run for sure. But yeah, what are some like system mods or things like that you guys have experience with or have yourselves?
Absolutely none.
This guy over here, or over here on my camera.
Well, getting Dreamcast up and running just kind of recently. That was just the integrating Raspberry Pi with the older consoles. That in itself, I love that concept, and just the fact that it's very simple now. It's a lot easier than pulling your BIOSes and running Unimods and all that kind of stuff on moving back older. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see some of the 5th, 6th gen stuff being able to actually do external modding to it, almost, so to say.
Yeah, for sure. It blows my mind that there's still a little community for Phantasy Star on the GameCube. Like looking into all of that here recently with. This is the first time I've ever had a broadband adapter for the GameCube, so just like looking into the whole Discord server.
And it's so easy. Like getting GameCube back online is so freaking easy. It's amazing.
Right? Yeah,
that would have been the hardest one to get reconfigured for some sort of modern day use. I think it's the easiest one.
You figure Nintendo would have shut that shit down a long time ago. The way them assholes are.
I just forgot about it.
With it only being Phantasy Star, it's interesting how they do it because they set up a private server. I don't think that there really is anything Nintendo can do. It's kind of out of their control the way that you do it.
I think you're right. It's because there's nothing about you're not modding anything. It's just connecting to an external computer that's in someone's closet probably.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. That is the only GameCube game that we can play online nowadays, right? It is Phantasy Star. Okay.
The only game. Yep. Yeah, it's really that's why I never use the any of the adapters, the modem or broadband adapters, because nothing took advantage of it, and I didn't have Fantasy Star, so
Yeah, and I guess there was some support with Animal Crossing, but
yeah,
it was very minimal
it
support.
it was like writing on their message board or something like that, something
Yeah,
stupid, as simple as that. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah.
for sure, that's been interesting to kind of go back. I'm pretty new to the modding stuff, or getting anything modded other than just like screens and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
this is different. I just dived in. Just dived into EverDrives this year. I've always been just a collector, and with the prices and the way that things
Oh
are,
man.
I have
Through the roof.
jumped headfirst into the EverDrives and in any way that I can access these games, because it's one of those things. It's like, do you want to wait until you can spend $700 on this game that you want to play? That's
Been wanting to play,
Oh,
or just want to play
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind. So I mean, just like Kuon and these games that are,
Oh my dude.
Rule
Yeah,
of
how much
Rose.
they blew up. How much? Well, in Rule of Rose's defense, that has honestly been like a $300 game for about 4 or 5 years now. The Kuon, bro, that was like a $30, $40 game year before last. It literally was.
And
And
it's crazy. Everything's blown
yeah.
up.
hmm
And
You see, I don't mind, you know, I don't mind paying for something that I really, really want. And, I am a collector, but I'm starting to have the mindset of, I don't have to have everything. And there's a lot of stuff in my collection that I just don't give a shit about that I'm going to go ahead and sell off. But just like you're saying, if you want to play something, and if you want to play it on your original hardware, your Super Nintendo, your Genesis, whatever, as opposed to doing something like this,
Yeah.
which I still haven't set up yet. It's still in its box. I just got a 512 gig card for it, and I will get it set up soon. But there's you only have so much space on top of that,
yeah,
because when I go to move, if listen, I have 200 some plus Atari games, and most of them are not in box, and then I have I have a wall over there. I mean, it's covered up by this green screen, and that's like mostly shelves. Yeah, just like that. And that's far greater than what I've got. And it's like in the past 4 years, we've moved like 3 times. No, we're not deadbeats, and there's a big story behind all of that. Well, real quick, the first building we lived in for 6 years, and then somebody started making meth in there, and we got the hell out of there. The second place we moved during the pandemic, and we moved someplace way too small. Then the place we moved to just recently, a year ago, we were living right behind a car wash, and we didn't realize it was going to be that loud, and then they never fixed anything. Said, fuck this, we're out of here. And the place we've been wanting to get into for 2 years, we could never get in here. So we finally got in here, and this place is beautiful. So it's just like, try and try again. But I'm getting tired of moving. I'm not saying I'm going to get rid of all my collection. But when it comes to what I really, really want to play and own, they're two different things.
Mhm.
And sometimes they're the same. Because when I was just at CAG here 3-4 weeks ago, there were a couple of things I've been looking for, and I found them. And I actually said to my wife recently, I said, I don't think I have anything that's a holy grail anymore. There's nothing that I'm like, if I saw it, I'd be like, holy shit, and I gotta have it.
Right.
There's just nothing, because
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with that. I'm the same way. I'm not actively collecting for a lot of these. I've actually sold off a lot. I sold off basically all my Super Nintendo. Right now, I have reasons behind some of the things I've done, but the EverDrives are a new thing for me. I never would have done that just 3 years ago. Like, I never wanted to go that route. I was just a straight collector. you know, and love my
I would be
complete box
lost,
stuff.
though, Brandon. I would be absolutely lost because when I was at CAG, I know that they have updates and stuff like that for different EverDrives, but I didn't know that there were so many different models for, like, just say one system. And I'm going, well, what the hell's the difference? I mean, I'm a smart guy, but I don't know everything. So I would have to literally go up there and go, all right, I'm a noob to EverDrives. So
Yep.
It's taken a lot of research and time, a lot. I think since the beginning of 2020, things frustrated me so much that I damn near considered just stop collecting. Like, just the prices were just, there was a lot of stuff going on with that. These prices have just gotten ridiculous, but I have not stopped collecting.
The good thing about the price situation is, though, if you get involved with a lot of those local conventions or the local little shop and swaps, there's so much like trading and shit between all the vendors that it makes it better. Like, it seems like it goes back to that, you know, I need this, but I don't need this that I have, but I want that you have. What can you do for me? And, you know, a lot of the guys aren't trying to get, you know, top dollar for that shit, especially a lot of the stores that I've dealt with that come out to those events. You know, if they sit on inventory for a year, he's like, it's not making me any money. So hell yeah, I'll trade you for those 3 Mario games that, you know, you've been sitting on for this long because they don't want to sell it, you know, your convention or whatever. So it is kind of nice to be able to pick up some things that, you know, you want that way in trade deals with people at those local shop and swap deals like that.
Yeah. Something they can move versus it's sitting there collecting dust.
Exactly.
I can't say, the trading has happened a lot more since like COVID and prices, you know, shot up. I've done a lot more trades. Any of the heavies that I do have, I think I've probably traded for every single one of those. So, that's definitely something. Trades is a huge thing for me right now. That's how I get most of the stuff that I want, stuff that I've just had sitting there. Hey, that's literally just sitting there. I've just traded things away for stuff I actually want.
Yeah, I've got so much shit in my closet. It's like, look through this tote, find you a whole stack of shit, and let me get something. Just I'll take one thing for that stack of shit to save some room and just put something on my shelf.
I'll take a trunk full of game stuff when I meet somebody and be like, here, just look through the trunk, find what you want. I've done that so many times recently. For sure, that's something I do as well. It's just like I had a whole 2 shelves full of sports games that I never once played for the PS2, for instance. Just 2 shelves for no reason. I mean, and that's the type of collector I was. I was if I don't have it, throw it on the shelf. That's what I did for years and years and years.
I'm sitting on a stack of those for original Xbox right now.
Yeah,
a shitload of sports games.
And I never played one of those one single time.
And nobody will even buy them for like $1 a piece. It's like the fucking case alone is worth $1. The OG green Xbox cases alone are worth $1. And you won't even give me $1.
I've actually bought sports games, and I'm sure you guys have too. I bought sports games just to swap out my busted up cases. And it's just like, well, let's just take this NHL.
And peel that fucking sports sticker off.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, there we go. We're good.
I never got into the game collecting. Like, if it wasn't a game I wanted to play, like I didn't see the value in buying it. If I'm not going to play it, I don't want to collect it.
Well, that's a smart thing to do. Trust me, that really.
Well, I've got
too many games; it's too expensive.
You're ahead of the
I've gotten more like that because sometimes there's never really been anything. How about this? Sometimes I'll see something in a budget bin, or if you have 4 for $20 or something like that, I'm like, all right, I need a fourth. This looks okay, and I'll go ahead and grab it. But nowadays, I kind of took a cue from someone on YouTube. I'm sure you all have heard of Radical Reggie, Medical Jesus. Medical Jesus, I just created the new character, Medical Jesus.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah, Medical Jesus. Metal Jesus' buddy. I'll be, hey, Jason, you have to have this new character, Medical Jesus. But anyway, Reggie once said here recently, a couple of years ago, because he has limited space, and he said, well, I finally started getting rid of the stuff that I know I'm never ever going to play or that I don't appreciate in my collection, that I just don't care about, and that way I can collect the stuff that I want. But I myself have a difficult time sometimes getting a hand. All right, I really want to get rid of this.
I can't get rid of shit.
I literally sometimes have to give it to somebody else and be like, do something with this, please.
Tony's a hoarder.
Well, Actually, there is one thing that I would consider a holy grail now, and that would be I'd like to get my hands on another Halo Reach Legendary Edition with the statue complete and everything. I bought one complete when I was at GameStop, and then I stupidly got rid of it. And then now every time I try to find one, oh, it's missing a hand, it's missing a gun. It looks like somebody's cat's been taking a dump on it.
Oh, I'll one up you. I had one, and my cat peed on mine, so that'd be great.
Piss on this game.
Legit, it got peed on the cat.
Oh, that's great, but it's not great. But that's funny. But I had never played the game Godzilla for PS4. I mean, and I bought it at GameStop maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I've had it in my collection, and I said, I know it's not that great of a game, so it's around between 150 to 225 depending. And yep, I keep saying around 225. And I think I bought it for $17 about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on.
I played it. I did a review on it. If you want a good chuckle, go check it out. You'll get a good laugh. And then not too long after that, I said, well, I know that the PS3 version, which is Japanese only, I know that it was really cheap. And I was like, well, I'll go ahead and check it out. And they did do some improvements on it. And of course, it's all in English for the PS4 version. And they fleshed it out a little bit here and there. They probably had some stuff that was more like I would consider a director's cut for the PS4. But the game will still piss you off because you can go ahead and play through this, through this first wave of the game, and then it says, "No, wait a minute, you can't continue here. You have to go all the way back to the beginning, and you have to play through all this shit again." And I'm like, why?
Yeah, that's
why?
a rough game. For the price, it's a rough game.
Yeah, so it's sitting on the shelf, and when it goes bye, I see ya. Get out of here.
Not gonna miss it.
No.
I think my biggest disappointment of paying a lot for a game, when I was still collecting Sega Genesis physicals before I switched to the EverDrive route, I have bought McDonald's Treasureland. It's about roughly CIB about $140. I was like, I played this when I was a kid. I only got through the first level. I couldn't beat it as a kid, so now I'm a goddamn adult. I'm going to beat it. So I bought it, and I sat down, and I had one of those rare occasions where my kid was gone, my lady was at work. I was like, all right, I'm focused. Let me play through this. I'm going to beat this now. It's been 20-odd years. Let me do it. It took me about an hour to beat it. I played through 4 levels. I was like, this is great. And I was like, holy shit, I just spent $135 on this. I was like, oh wow. I was like, so I think that day was the day I decided to go EverDrive route. Found someone that was interested in the game, immediately sold it. I was like, I got the experience out of it. I played it once. Like now it's just a $135 piece of plastic and a motherboard at that point. But
luckily mine wasn't that bad. It was Final Fantasy VII. Played it a lot when I was a kid, probably put over 100 hours in it, never actually beat it. So as an adult, like it was probably two girlfriends ago after my first wife. So we found it at a game store. I paid like $60 for it. And I'm like, $60? How's this game $60 Played it, beat it in like 2 months, probably, maybe 2 months. Took it back. I was like, yeah, guys, I just kind of want to trade it in and get some store credit. And they're like, we'll do like $20 store credit for it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I just kept it.
Yeah.
I just kept it.
Yeah.
But that was where I got like into collecting again. That was just one of those that I wanted to go back and replay as an adult and be like, I beat Final Fantasy VII finally.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. When was it $60?
This was like, let's see, I've been with my wife now for 12 years, and then the girlfriend before her, I was with her for a year, and this was like right when we started. So this is probably 14 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's I definitely relate on what Eddie was saying. It's rough when you have a retro game that you can beat in 2, 3, 4 hours.
Yeah,
and it's $100, $150, $200 game. It's insane.
Yeah, luckily I found
Right,
someone
yeah.
to buy it for the price I bought it for. I literally lost nothing, or I broke even on it, got my money back for it. But yeah, I basically used that plus a couple other physicals that I sold that were $50-$60. I literally just had, you know, sitting there just because, and that was the EverDrive right there. And the rest was all just put into whatever else, those games I wanted to collect.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm just into you know, anything that pretty much has a card that's pre 6th gen is pretty much getting the EverDrive treatment at this point, and hell, even some 6th gens getting the ODE, like the ODE treatment. You know, I'd rather
They run so well.
I would rather be able to play the games than have a huge wall of games. If that makes sense.
Or at least
No, absolutely.
Because like I said, I was collecting figurines and stuff, and that's what I came from. I came from a wall of things I could literally just look at. And, you know, if I beat the physicals and everything, that's what it just becomes. It becomes the exact thing I wanted to get away from. So
Hey, look behind Brandon. There's Medical Jesus.
Medical Jesus.
It is.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I just saw him. No, I agree with you because I don't mind having a few things that I can put on a shelf and look at. But like I had a cold cast Borg Queen statue, and I had that thing for maybe 12, 15 years. And I just recently said, you know what? I'm tired of looking at it, and it spent most of its time in its box. And I think maybe of all that time I had it, I maybe have had it out of the box maybe for 6 months. So I packed it up and I got rid of it. And there's a few things, you know, like I said, that statue that came with Halo Reach, that's about the only thing I have a few odds and ends I got back there. But like my wife's aunt, she has an entire bedroom that has all these shelves all the way around it. And she has cookie jars on all of those shelves. We all have the things we collect, and they're pretty cool. But at the end of the day, it's like, babe, you don't have any cookies in those jars.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. I still have games sitting here that I haven't touched or played yet, and there's collector's editions and stuff. But it's a lot less and it's a lot more planned out. And
I
something
think
I really
want. It's actually more granular, and I feel like what we're collecting is what we actually want to play, other than just like, you know, filling the library.
Everything.
I mean, at least it is for me. I don't like to speak for anyone else, but you know, I went through.
Fuck that. For me, I've got games I don't even have fucking systems for.
I have a couple like that because I used to have a 3DO. I had a 3DO.
If it's in the deal and it's a good deal, I'm fucking buying it. I don't even care.
Grab a 3DO again. What are you doing?
And I found a 3DO game in my closet, and I was like, I didn't even know I still had Mad Dog McCree. And of course, it has to be the shittiest of all the 3DO games. It couldn't be something great, you know. It couldn't be like Return Fire or Road Rash.
Yeah, Street Fighter. What is it? Street Fighter Turbo on there is excellent. Best port of that game. Yeah, best port of that game for sure.
But yeah,
the best.
Go ahead.
Well, the best port for let's see, Road Rash, Die Hard Trilogy, and oh hell, it just went out of my head. It'll come to me in a minute. But the best port of those games are on the 3DO. Oh, Return Fire as well on there. I can play them on the PS1. I can play them on the Saturn, but the best versions are on the 3DO.
The one I'm thinking, and I can't think of it at the moment, and it's behind. I can't see. It's behind other games in my closet. It's one actually I learned from Metal Jesus. Yeah, I can't remember what that's called. Some space game, but that's really good on there as well.
Oh, was it that real cartoon-looking one?
No, Space Ace. Not
Space Ace. It was a Space Ace.
Yeah, that one is the one that you're talking about. What were you saying, Shane?
Yeah. The Space Hulk, Blood of the Iron Angels or something.
I'm just gonna pull it because I'm thinking about
it. And hey, you know, Mist was very good on 3DO.
Mist.
Oh, here it is. Wing Commander 3.
Yes, Wing Commander.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it down. I got a couple physicals.
Oh shit, it's still up there?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you because I know all you
Park
guys
great,
are
but
such
these
massive
are my
RPG lovers.
big long.
Oh, yeah!
Yes, yeah.
Big ass long box.
Yeah, the other ones are all in like normal cases, but yeah, that Wing Commander 3, that game's excellent.
I've got it on PS1, I think.
Yeah, it's on there as well.
Yeah, I kind of miss my 3DO sometimes.
You should grab one. I love the system for sure.
It's a good one. It's a good weird one.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Yeah, they're actually working on an ODE for it right now. You can actually buy it right now. It's up for pre-order. Yeah,
ODE 3DO.
Yeah,
Have you
and
called
it's
that, or I'm disappointed.
the cheaper version is $250 and the more expensive one is $350.
Well,
yes, right on, man.
I mean, it's kind of like just like renewable energy. Like you pay up front for a bulk price up front, but in the long run, I mean, just like for example, $200 Genesis EverDrive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get that, then you gotta buy the CD console along with that, and then you gotta buy every CD game that you want to play.
Yeah, it's it pays itself off if you're collecting for some of those obscure systems that have expensive stuff. PS2, for example, it pays for itself. So.
Which is crazy because PS2 was definitely in the slumps 3 or 4 years ago, but now
absolutely.
It's
it was
pumping.
where Xbox is right now, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Just wait for Insignia to take off, and then everything that we've already done collected for the Insignia project and in bundles, we already have it, while everyone freaking struggles to pay $50 a physical for it.
Well, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I think when Insignia drops, I think a lot of the online games are definitely going to jump up because it's going to be so easily usable. You know, everyone's going to jump on it.
Yeah, I've been saying that Xbox is going to hit its point where it's going to jump up, but I think these games that all have the Xbox Live 1.0 stuff is going to jump up. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to take off in the retro community. People are going to get excited about original Xbox again, and I just think all the prices are going to rise a little bit, and those games that are accessible now are going to shoot up.
I was really thrilled though. About a year ago, I had heard that they were going to re-release Stubbs the Zombie, and I had an exquisite copy of that. And
I made the price drop.
Yes, and I was like, ooh, and I had just heard whispers of it, and I was like, and it's only going to be digital, and I was like, oh, and I'm like, oh, somebody will make a physical of it, and I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell this sumbitch, because right now I think I got it about $80, $85, $90 out of it. And so I told my wife I'm going to sell it, and I'll go ahead and buy the digital copy. And then if they ever make a physical, I'll go ahead and get it. And then somebody did come out with this really great physical special edition. Yeah, collector's edition, and it was like $150. And it didn't have anything that interested me in it, so I was like, no thanks.
Man, somebody's been trying to sell me one of those for like $300 right now for a minute.
Yeah.
GameStop, Stubbs the Zombie, THQ Nordic released a standard physical of Stubbs for $30.
Yep, 20. Yes, it was like $20. It was $20.
Right, it was cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah.
I fucked myself on a trade on that game.
Yeah,
I
would
was
have
like,
done the same thing for sure. I would have sold that as soon as I heard the new one was coming, or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's
and
a remake.
It's a remaster.
Really, yeah.
So it's a lot.
It's a cleanup, but it's still the original game.
It's the original game, and they actually did tighten the controls up a little bit for it, so that was nice because it was a little sloppy. But the fun thing is, of course,
being sloppy because you're a zombie,
right?
You know.
But the nice thing is, because I have my original Xbox soft modded, I have a scan of it on the hard drive anyway. So, and who knows when that hard drive's going to take a shit? So,
any day now.
And that's the original hard drive too.
Yeah, that's the only console that I've ever had really modded was the original Xbox, and then I had I actually did a Wii one time, but yeah, the original Xbox. I mean, you know, even with the 8 gig hard drive, you can still put all the old shit on it.
I do have a hard modded Dreamcast, and I do have a couple of European titles for it, and one of them is, of course, Godzilla, not the same one. And then that game's actually better than the PS4 version. And then they had a Godzilla 2, which was shit, and I sold that. I have a modded PSP. I think everybody has a modded PSP. It's kind of like everybody having a grandmother.
Yeah.
You know. Well, my son calls me up last week, and he goes, hey, guess what? And I go, well, I don't know what. And he says, I got this modded PSP from his stepbrother for like $20, and he put a whole bunch of stuff on it, and I was like, cool. I'm like, I've had one for years, remember? But he's like, no, but I got it for $20, and I'm like, all right. And he's like, well, I can play PS3 games on it. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You said, how are you playing PS3 games when there's not a second stick? So I got to see this shit like firsthand. I'm like, I don't think you're playing PS3 games on it, Warren. You have to be thinking of maybe PS2 or something. Can you imagine trying to play Max Payne on that?
Oh Lord.
No.
It would be a Max Payne.
Any twin stick.
Yeah.
I don't see it being possible.
For sure. Yep. So I mean, yeah, that's generally one of those things it's kind of crazy.
Well, you know, I think sitting here talking with you guys has kind of crystallized my thinking when it comes to, you know, because I do have a heavy bit of nostalgia, especially for my Atari stuff from when I was a kid. I mean, I have all that stuff from when I was a kid, and then I have stuff that I just kept collecting onward from then. And I think that because there was a point at which a couple years ago I sat aside a whole bunch of stuff and I said, well, I've got like 200 plus Atari cartridges. Why don't I go ahead and get rid of like, you know, 4/5 of these, and I can just keep the ones I had from when I was a kid, you know, just for nostalgia's sake. And then because I can always, you know, emulate whatever I want, you know, however I want it. And so I think that's probably something I'll end up doing. But the sad fact is most of that shit that I do have. Now, I sold off some of the stuff that is worth a little more, like track and field with the controller. I think I got $150 out of that about a year ago. You know, stuff I was never going to play or I didn't care about. You know, a couple odds and ends like that. But most of my stuff's common stuff. But I think, like you said, you know, with EverDrive and the other ways to emulate, why not get rid of it and then get that crap out from under my bed out of a tote?
And you can play that stuff anywhere. Like you can literally take it wherever you want to and play it.
Right.
Like, on the road.
Yeah.
I would love to have one of those, because like you always see the one guy, Mad Little Pixel on YouTube, he's always showing different emulation systems and stuff. I would just like to have a really, really nice one. It doesn't have to be expensive, but something that's
NVIDIA Shield Portable.
Okay.
From back in 2013, great little console. It's got like 13 gigs of internal memory, and it also takes SD card support. You can add all kind of emulators onto it. It's Android operating system, so you can literally put whatever you want on the damn thing. It's great. I love that thing. They're about $100 and $125. They may be around like $150 now. But Android Shield Portable, it opens up, so you got a touch screen on one side, and it literally is like an Xbox controller. It's got 4 shoulder buttons, everything.
Yeah, there's some, especially if you're doing like pre-NES, anything like pre-NES, that stuff is pretty good with emulation. I've used like a $60 PAL Kitty. I mean, one of those devices, like there's like the XPD. There's so many of those. I mean,
yeah, I remember these. Yeah, that thing's badass.
Yep.
I've never seen one in the flesh though.
It's awesome.
For sure.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, just grab you.
Nah, that thing's way cheaper than a Steam Deck.
I had a Steam Deck reserved, and I got thinking about it, and then they sent me the email, and I was like, I had 48 hours or 72 hours to execute, and I was just like, I'm sitting there going, nah. But I know you can emulate anything on that thing, but I mean $600. I was like, I don't know.
They're expensive, but I mean,
yeah,
a new console is $500, so
right,
$60 tax. So it's essentially the same thing. I mean that's what, it's a lot of money. It is, but there's, I mean,
well, have they made the Steam Deck where you can actually pay for like service on it? Like, because from my understanding, you have to have like internet, a really good internet to fucking stream anything from it, unless it's actually downloaded onto the console itself, right?
Yeah, but I would never stream anything anyway. I stream on the PS5 with a really good router, and it's shit.
Yeah. Yeah, my boss at work, he's got like gig internet shit at his apartment, and he'll be streaming his PS5 from work. He just got that Backbone
the Backbone
controller.
Yeah.
For his phone, so he'll be streaming his fucking PS5, showing me like playing God of War. I'm like, fuck you, man. Shouldn't have working. Get away from me.
I don't have gig internet, so that's probably my issue. But yeah.
Yeah, my shit, I'd never be able to do it with my internet where I'm at on the boondocks out here.
Yeah. Streaming is just it's not at a point where it's like accessible and it runs well enough. You know what I mean? I don't want something that's going to run at 15 frames a second, and that's what it does for me. So
my shit will be worth
it. Really comes down to how good your internet really is.
Yeah, 100% for sure. I don't do well with the streaming at the moment, so.
I'm surprised I got as good internet as I do.
AT&T kills me where I'm at. We get 25 megabytes down and 2 upload.
Well, I was getting 15 megabytes. The router helped. I'm at around like 40 now, which is good for me. So
wow,
yeah,
nice.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
I think I showed you mine. I was surprised how fast my internet
Yours
was.
is insane. It's the best I've ever seen in my life, and he's in the middle.
I had better at my last apartment before I moved here, but it's better because my cell signal's terrible. I literally had a fiber at my last apartment run right to my up to my plug-in. That was nice.
So I recently upgraded to fiber. Love it.
I think my apartment had to have upgraded recently because it's ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm getting a few hundred megabits on the up and
yeah.
down.
For sure. But
mine's a little slow tonight. I got 85 up and that looks about maybe 6 down, 7. So I'm usually hitting around 110, and that's for a guy who doesn't play anything online.
Right. But shit, you go to my house and like my whole house is fucking on my Wi-Fi, so it just everything sucks.
There was a guy I used to work with. He lived so far out in the boonies. He said that if he was going to download something or download a movie or anything, he'd have to do it 2 days beforehand.
Or take it to a friend's house.
Yep, or take it to a friend's house.
I got a new patch on the game. Gotta go to Johnny's house and get this new patch.
I feel like dial-up
Can you
days.
imagine
All
with
day
the new
download
consoles? There's an
everything.
update every time I turn that thing on.
bro.
Every time I turn
Dude,
it on.
every time.
Controller
I
update,
would
freaking,
be
just the craziest stuff.
retro gamer through and through.
He's a 40 gig patch.
Microsoft pisses me off. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that they're always saying, hey, we have an update for you. But I also don't like the fact that they're always saying, hey, we have an update for you. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, to be fair, now with the PS5, most of the stuff updates in the background, so I've not had an issue recently. But I know when both of those consoles launched, every time I turned it on, there was an update for something, and I couldn't play. It's gotten better.
I don't even leave mine on anymore. I have a power strip that has individual buttons for each outlet.
Yeah.
I turn them all off. And the main reason why I do that, not just to save electricity, but I'm not a cheapskate by any means, but I actually saw a difference because when you have X amount of systems plugged in, on top of that, I'm going to save my power supplies on top of that. But what I realized with the Xbox Series X is when that thing's off, if you put your hand on top of it, there's still heat coming out of it. And I don't mean just a little bit. I mean, it's still kind of, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you can't do a barbecue over it. But I'm like, why is this thing hot? It's off.
I've never had that issue, but I've heard of that happening with people. I don't know. I don't know the cause.
I don't have an Xbox, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've never actually seen a PS5 in a store to purchase before. Or
I got really lucky and I somehow got it on the pre-order date. But I never turned off. I just put it in rest mode because I've got enough games that are constantly updating.
Yeah,
but it's like the only game system that I've got on for the most part in the background constantly.
Yeah,
so it's not really
Series X and the PS5. Well, I guess the Switch too. Those ones I've always left on. I've never had an issue, so it works for me.
My Switch is about the only thing that stays on, just because it's so low power anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't even have it hooked up to that. It's on.
I think essentially the reason I do it now is because of the update stuff. That's annoying. I don't have a lot of time to play now, so if I want to play and there's a fucking update, dude, I'm pissed. Like, I switch to another system then, and that's another reason that I do multiple of the systems now. I mean, it's just there's a lot of reasons for everything, but yeah, I can't. That's the most frustrating thing is having to wait on an hour and a half update.
One of the beautiful things about the retro games, you literally just pop that bitch in and you are playing. There's no update. There's no bullshit. Push start, play the game.
Yeah.
And when the game comes out, and if it's got a glitch in it, it's got a glitch in it, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
If it's fucking broke, it's broke.
Work around it.
Hey, a lot of them glitches are fun, man. I had a lot of fun with some of
Yeah,
those glitches
yeah.
back.
As long as it's not a game breaking glitch.
Which one? What was it? The Sonic Adventures 2? Or was it the first one?
I don't know. Those
That
games
you
are
can't
both
beat.
very glitchy.
Like at the very end of it, it glitches out to the point where you can't actually beat the game. And it was just broke when they released it, so.
Sounds like Sonic 06.
There was one
Yeah.
with Twilight Princess, just the Weavers, and if you went into like a certain, what was it? I don't know, a certain temple during a certain time of day, you couldn't ever exit the temple. You had to reset your game.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Hard locked
What
in.
about,
Love it.
what
Love it.
about the glitches
Fantastic.
that actually help, like the Blaster Master bomb pause glitch? Like, you know,
There's so
like
many glitches.
like when you're dungeoneering, you I forget the exact like notion. Like you throw a bomb like right before it hits, like the boss, like inside of like once you're out of the tank and you go inside like the little like dungeoneering area.
Yeah.
Like if you throw your if you do the bomb ability or whatever and you pause at the right time and you keep on repeatedly pause it, it like just constantly just spams the bomb like enemy like the bomb damage stage like because how NES like 0 through 8 stages when it like cuts through like the action that's happening and it like skips the stage every time, so all the thing that registers on the NES is damage from the bomb, and you literally just constantly pause it. Or if you could have
Nice.
a NES Advantage, turn on the turbo, it does the same thing.
I know, like early 3D games, a lot of glitches with those games. Like me and Mark was talking the other day about Metroid Prime Hunters. You could there's a glitch. You could jump into the wall, and nobody gets on the online multiplayer. You could jump into the wall. You could shoot from the wall, but they can't see you, so you can't
It's easy kills.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was always fun for sure.
Well, here, if you like glitchy stuff, look into this. This is mind-blowing. There's a community of guys that do this stuff in Nintendo 64 games. It's called cart tilting. So the idea is that you're actually lifting one side of the cartridge a little bit out of the actual cartridge connector, and you can intentionally cause glitches in these games. And guys have figured out some really weird, interesting things you can do with cart tilting. You can do it to break through barriers that are normally in game, and then reseat the cartridge properly, and you're in areas where you're not supposed to be. Pretty wild.
It's interesting.
I was playing Sid Meier's Pirates one time, and I was finally getting to the end, and I had one relative left to rescue. And of course, it randomizes it every time you play. So whoever this relative was, my father, my sister, I don't remember because it was a while ago, and my wife was watching me play, and I get to the bottom of this map, and I'm like, okay, they're over here, and I see where the X is on the map I'm supposed to go to, but then I get to the edge of the map, and I can't continue going, and I'm like, what's going on? And the X was on the outside of the map. I'm like, how in the hell am I supposed to rescue somebody on the outside of the map? I'm not John McClane. I can't just jump outside of the building and come back in. So she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, nothing. I said, I can't say that I necessarily beat the game, but I'm going to, because they kind of made me win by default.
Yeah.
And then my Xbox Red ringed on me when I had Halo 3, and I had already had to restart it once, and by that time I was halfway through the game, and I was just pissed off. Now she had already finished the game twice, so I send the thing into Microsoft. It comes back, and I had my hard drive there and everything, and I did not realize at the time that they were not repairing your system, that they were just giving you a refurb. So I get my system back, I plug the thing in, and of course I have to tell it any of the games I had, hey, I have to, relicense everything. So I start playing Halo 3, and it starts me at a point where I am spawning right where I die. And there's no way for me to stop this. So I call Microsoft support, and they're like, oh, well, you can send it back into us. And I'm like, oh, screw that. Or you can just restart the game. I said, fuck this. So I'm sitting there, I'm pouting like a child, because I do that sometimes. And she says to me, now listen to what an awesome person my wife is. She says, I've already beat the game twice. I'll play it up to the point where you were at, and I'll save it for you. I'm like,
No,
I love you.
true love.
Yeah.
That's true love, because at that point, I was about to rage quit that fucker. I was like, no, Bill Gates, this is your fault. So,
This is a song about Bill Gates. Hating Bill Gates.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a case with that for sure. But any closing thoughts for you guys tonight? Anything you want to talk about? Or?
Yeah, it looks like we're closing in on an hour and a half almost. We're like 5 minutes short. Let's say we wanted to
And
get between
I went
45
quick.
and 90. Yeah, it sure
Well,
did.
So I guess we're anxiously awaiting beta release for Insignia. Because Alpha's out, everyone's just used it, freaking loves it, it works great. So
Yeah, definitely anticipating that. So that'll be fun. We'll all jump into that for sure when that drops and check those games out. And then we will be more prepared next week. We're going to look into everything we've had issues with here. The rough first episode, but it happens.
Luckily, I think the good thing is while we were having this,
lots of room for growth
my
and
technical
improvement.
brain was working. I think I have a good idea of how we can set up a little bit better for the next stream.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll work on it through the week.
And I'll be at home, my stuff in steady camera, because Jesus. So you're fucking it up.
All right, guys.
He's exaggerating.
Everybody that came to watch live, we appreciate it. This episode will be out on all the services, so we will be better prepared next time. We appreciate everybody coming together tonight.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun, and we will be back next Sunday. Later, guys.
so yeah.
Later, y'all.